Hey everybody, how's it going? First time today that I had a chance to make a video, so I wanted to put this out there. Last night I listened to an interview where Larry Kudlow was the guest. And you know, Larry Kudlow, he's in contention to be the chairman of the White House Council of Economic Advisors. That would make him the top economist in the Trump administration. All right, Larry Kudlow. I've spoken about him in the past. Anyway, they were asking Larry Kudlow, there's a couple of interviewers there, asking him some questions, and basically, what's Trump going to do? What's Trump going to do to create jobs? All right, and his answer was very instructive. Now, Kudlow said, here's what he's going to do. Trump, first of all, he's going to drop the corporate tax rate from 35% to 15%. And I thought to myself, here we go. I want to hear this one. I want to hear how that's going to create jobs. So he said, corporations don't really pay tax. There was a very eye-opening comment, and it was very hypocritical too, because Kudlow and people like him are running around saying we need the corporate tax rate down because corporations in America pay more tax than any other place in the world. But there he was saying they don't really pay tax because what they do is they pass that along in the form of lower wages to their workers and higher prices to their customers. So there was a clear and blatant admission that they don't really pay tax. But okay, let's move on with what he said. And by the way, just as a side point, I've already shown using the Treasury statement data that corporate taxes collected by the federal government annually come to about $328 billion. And $328 billion is roughly 15% of all pre-tax corporate earnings in the United States. So they're already just paying 15%. And by the way, that $328 billion, that's about 12 or 13% of all taxes collected by the federal government. So they're not paying a lot of tax. So we could stop with this 35% because the numbers are there. But anyway, here's what Kudlow said. He said that so when Trump cuts the corporate tax rate, what's going to happen is that the corporations will then pass that along to higher wages to their workers and lower prices to their customers. Yeah, right. And the moon is made out of green cheese and other fantasies that you might believe. Now, anyone who swallows that, I got to say, I think you're being very naive. Corporations, once they get that tax cut, that's going to flow to higher pay and higher compensation for CEOs. It's going to be held in the form of retained earnings. They're not going to charitably on their own say, here's higher wages, workers. We just got this bonanza, this windfall from the government in the form of lower taxes, and we're just going to give you that now. Come on, seriously. That just doesn't happen. That is, so again, it's another example of some of the thinking that I see coming out of these surrogates of the Trump team. I've already talked about guys like Mickey Mulvaney, who's Trump's budget director, who wants to really slash Social Security and Medicare, and the guy is for a balanced budget amendment, which I said in the past, if that happens, and I'm going to make this prediction, I'm going to predict that eventually in America we will see the passage of a balanced budget amendment, which will be a disaster. And I also predicted before it happened, way before it happened, I said that one day the credit rating of the United States will be cut because the rating agencies do not understand the distinction between currency issuing nations and nations that don't issue currency. I said this well before when it happened in 2011. Many times when I still worked for Fox on air, I said that was going to happen because the rating agencies are idiots and they don't understand that a currency issuing nation can never involuntarily default on its own money. But they did it anyway. And by the way, when that happened, I was telling people prior to that, I said, if they ever do something like that, that is the greatest Treasury buying opportunity you will ever have, because people are going to think that rates are going to spike and blow through the roof because, creditors are not going to lend to us. And I said, that's a totally inapplicable perception. And of course, when they cut the rating, that was a great time to buy treasuries. You could have made a huge killing on that. And I did make a lot of money on that. So we will see a balanced budget amendment at some point. I am predicting maybe in the not too distant future. It could happen under Trump, and it's going to be, it'll basically make the United States look like Greece, and it'll just be terrible for the rest of the world, as the U.S. is the largest economy and really the economic engine of the world. So there you have it. Larry Kudlow is going to be the chief economist. I just keep seeing, one after another, these fiscal hawks and these supply side fools. I mean, you can look at any chart of the economy, any metric of the economy since the Reagan supply side, and what you will see is real wages of workers going down, staying flat. You see the top 1% really gaining. You see growth in the economy, real growth in the economy, well below where it was in the 1950s and the 1960s and even the 1970s with the inflation. So you could argue that these guys could argue that it's been a great thing. And if you're at the top, maybe it has been the great thing. But in general, for the economy, it hasn't been a great thing. And all of these, all the deregulation, and particularly all the financialization of the economy, where we're not really building things that much anymore, but it's basically just financializing everything, right? Wall Street, that kind of stuff. That has not added any real value. So I leave the door open. We'll have to see what Trump is actually going to do. And then, the beauty of what I do is we see the numbers every single day, so we'll be able to make a determination. But right now, there was another one, the interview with Larry Kudlow last night, just very, very eye-opening. See you later, everybody. Bye-bye.